Hello. So, this is who's on my lap. Say hi. Okay, so I am about 7 months, about 6.5 months outside of bariatric surgery. Cosmo. And this past weekend, my fiance and I went to some trade shows and we did a little shopping, and I ended up buying like baked goods and chips and candy, and Saturday I think I actually made dinner, but Sunday we just ate really crappy food all day. I had poutine twice. For those in the States that don't know what poutine is, it's delicious. But I find myself snacking, grazing. Popcorn is a food that I could just sit and eat. It's like it doesn't settle in my stomach. I don't know where it goes, but it goes. And, you can get this really low-calorie popcorn, which is delicious, which I eat. But then sometimes I go to Colonel's and I get popcorn and then I eat a bag of it. And there's probably thousands of calories in there. So, although I'm not doing too poorly on the weight loss side, I do still track my food. I do eat vegetables and protein, and I just find that some days I'm slipping back into old habits. And then this came. So this book came in this month's bariatric box, and so I started to read it. It's written by somebody who at her heaviest was over 400 pounds and had bariatric surgery herself, but she's also a therapist that helps people with food addiction. So she's got perspective from two sides. So I thought I would start reading it, and it's about changing your mindset and changing your eating habits and trying to figure out what led to the weight loss in the first place, because bariatric surgery doesn't give you that answer. Bariatric surgery doesn't change your cravings or the reasons that you emotionally eat. And it doesn't help you identify these things and fix them. So I'm lucky I went through a clinic that has a psychologist available. I don't utilize her services probably as much as I should. But some people go to Mexico or wherever, their local doctor, and pay to get it done and then go on about their way, and they're likely the people that are going to gain it back. And I really don't want to be the person that gains it back. So I'm reading this book, and of course this is a book that will ask the hard questions and make you look at your life and try to figure out how you got to be the weight that you were before bariatric surgery. And she recommends, asking the questions and writing down your answers in a journal. And we all know that I don't like to journal. I like to blog and talk. And so I've just gone through the first chapter, and she asks some questions that I'm just going to touch on. Start reflecting on the last few years. What do you notice? The the last few years of my life have been the happiest and the most productive, and I feel the most success in my life now. I am 36, and I thought when I was 19 that I would have a degree in 4 years and a husband shortly after that, and then probably not kids, but a dog and a house and a career. And I didn't get my career until I started in the insurance industry in 2011. I was 30 at the time. No, 29. I was 29 at the time. I didn't realize that it was my career at the time, but I have since realized it. But that's when I started. 2009 is when my current fiance and I got together as boyfriend and girlfriend, and we struggled. We still struggle, not as much. And we only got engaged last year in 2017, right before surgery. So I still don't have a husband. We bought a townhouse in 2016 when I was 35, 34. I don't know. Can't do math. So I guess the reason that I'm saying that is my life didn't go as planned. I didn't hit the goals that I wanted to hit, and for a long time that made me upset, that made me frustrated, that made me feel like a failure, that I had this plan when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, getting ready to go to university for the first time and leave home and become an adult, and I had this plan, this timeline, and I ended up suffering from anxiety and depression so bad that I dropped out of university for several years. I did end up going back and finishing my degree, but I'm not working within that field. I didn't pursue the educational field that I had originally planned. And at the time when I was doing my planning as a young adult, I didn't have a contingency. This was it. I didn't have other options. This was it. And I didn't hit it. So I always felt like a failure. And that might be where the weight came from. I've always been fat. I've always been overweight, even as a child. So I can't imagine that it started with my fear of failure or beating myself up because I felt like a failure because I didn't hit this unrealistic plan that I set for myself at 15. But the last few years I've changed that mindset, and I do feel like a success, and I do feel like I'm good at my job, and I'm recognized, and I love what I do, and I'm adequately compensated. I have a career that I could see myself retiring from in another 30 years. I have a house. I have a family. As you can see, they're a fur family, but they're my family. So that's what my life looks like now. But yet I still gained the weight. I tried. I did lose a little bit in the last few years before surgery. But it didn't, having those successes in my life, I don't know if they made that big of a change. I guess it was everything before the last few years that got me to where I was. I'm approaching 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop. We have several more questions to answer, so maybe I'll do another one. Stay tuned for my psychological journey into why I'm fat.